There's one more thing that we should say specifically about treifa food. We're talking about the difference between klipas nega shalosh klipas meis lagamri. Shalosh klipas meis lagamri is called osur. Osur means it's not the pshat you did something wrong, so there's even klipa. It's the pshat that holds you back. It's a prison. And it prevents you from saying David to tomorrow. That's why you have to do tshuva, you have to do tshuva, me'ava, and so forth. And that's the meaning of the word iser. It traps you. Says the Alter Rebbe, when it comes to food, there's a nacha kvetch. That in other words, of all the shasal leises, food has another very, very powerful negative component. The reason they're called isir is as follows. You should know that the Gemara says, the Gemara says, no bad thing can happen to a tzaddik. And Teves asks in a few places in Shas where you see nishtazay, and the Teves answers that this is specifically about food. The idea that layun tzaddik is specifically about food, because food becomes one with you. And when a person needs to pray for food, he becomes one with Isser. So the Eibishter protects the idea of layun tzaddik specifically for food. Why is teifa called Isser? You ate teifa food. You don't know it's treif. You think it's kosher. Nishta das you ate it with the holiest kavanas l'shem shemayim. Lava that Hashem bekeich achila he to serve the Eibishter with the power of that food. V'gam pol v'asa kain, you actually did it. V'kara, you learned Torah. V'spal, and you davened. Bekeich achila he with the power of that food. Zog the Alter Rebbe ein hachayit shabo ele. The vitality of this treif does not go up. Umislabeshes, and become one with, become a garment for. B'teves ateidah v'atfil, the letters ateidah and tefillah. K'may heter, as would be the case with heter. In other words, when you eat kosher food and you learn and daven, the food becomes kedush kadoshim. When you eat treifa food and you learn and daven, the treifa food remains treif, and it continues to be a prison, a spiritual prison on you, and stops you from going up to the Eibishter. Mipnei isura, because it's locked down, it's trapped, it's imprisoned. B'dei asitra achara, in the hands of sitra achara, misholish klibas atmeis. And now the Alter Rebbe repeats again that chiddush. Va'afilu isa de rabbanon. Right? What's put isa de rabbanon? Isa de rabbanon means that the rabbanon took something which Midarai says klipas nega, and they made it osir. Right? And I told you the other day that in Lomdish Sfarim, when they talk about the different Derais and the rabbanon, they say the chilek is that the Derais is also in the chefts. And the Rabbanon is only in the Gavra. The Alter Rebbe Paskins here, that Bipnimis HaTeirah, when the Rav says, we're saying that something which is kosher, we're going to make a chum and say it's treif, the Rav brings into that klipas nega, shalosh klipas atmeis. He changes the status of something that was yesterday before the Isser, right? The Asar Beisak Lili Hayoech LeBasar Eif B'Chalav. Before the Chachamim Paskin, that Basar Eif B'Chalav was Asar, it was klipas nega. Now that the Psak Din was established, that Basar Eif B'Chalav was Asar, it became shalosh klipas atmeis lagam. Shechamurim divrei seifim yesem it divrei teirah. Faket. In the times that Beisak Lili, David came out of it. No more. If a person eats milk with chicken and says, "Oh, I'm relying on Beisak Lili," he's a Megala Paramatesh like Allah. He's a Kefa B'Ikit. Even though in the times of Beisak Lili they used to do it. Shechamurim divrei seifim yesem it divrei teirah, because the Rabbanon are more strict than Teirah v'chol. Hates it like gewaldike gedank. That when it comes to food, you were a oinus, you were a shoygig, you didn't know. It's isser, and it's me'aseh that locks you up. And now comes even a bigger chiddush. Therefore, Gama Yetzer Hara, V'keach HaMeshaveh, V'dvarim Asur, the Yetzer Hara of a Yid that desires prohibited things, right? Who shade mishaydin uchrayin, becomes a alien demon. Shu Yetzer Hara shel umas ha'elam, which is Yetzer Hara of Goyim. Shenafshei sayim, that their souls are mishalosh klipas atmeis, from the three severe klipas. Masha'in kena Yetzer Hara v'keach HaMeshaveh V'dvarim HaMutarim. As opposed to the natural Yetzer Hara and keach HaMeshaveh, the power of desire that a Jew has, which is for permitted things. That Allah Malas Tavas is satisfy one's desire. Who shade mishaydin yodayin is a demon that's Jewish. If you go back to Kedusha. The Alter Rebbe says here a Chiddush Nifla. Alter Rebbe says that the teva of the Nefesh HaBahamis of a Yid, not the teva of the Nefesh HaLakis of a Yid. The teva of the Nefesh HaBahamis of a Yid is he doesn't want treif. If it's kosher, he wants two. Kosher, Favas nicht. It's about taiva. But he only wants to have such a taiva that he could lift up to the Eibishter. The Yiddish Yetzer Hara doesn't want to become a prisoner to Klippa. He wants to enjoy it. But he's thinking, I'll fix it up. When a Yid does Avedas, and the Seder is Veistach, the Gemara says, it's brought in the beginning of the second Maimon of Kuntres Somayin. How do you do an Aveda? A Yid's Nefesh HaBahamis only wants taivas heter. As the Alter Rebbe is saying here. Your Nefesh HaBahamis is called a Jewish demon. All it wants is kosher taivas, not treifa taivas. That's how you do an Aveda. So the Rebbe brings in the Rebbe Rashab in the beginning of the second Maimed of Kuntus Hamayin that it's a process. Ribu shiku and taivas heter hayemem le'aseikach olamocha le'em le'aseikach ha'cheimem le'leich aved aved zara. Rebbe Rashab translates, when a person allows themselves a lot of mutadik taivas, they become desensitized for taivas heter, and they could lose their hergish to the point that they have a shaykhas at taivas hiser. But the teva, the nefesh, bahamis of a yid, as a kendish indicator. Taivas heter, yeah, taivas hiser, no, because he doesn't want to be imprisoned. So you have over here two gedanken. The first gedanke is a chiddush nifla about treif of food, that even if you had the best kavanas, until you do tshuva me'ahava, it holds you back. And the second chiddush is es will sich nicht. A yid doesn't want treif. A yid doesn't want treif. The nefesh habahamis of yid doesn't want treif. This is a gewaltige chiddush. Stop. This is the end of the discussion on Shalosh Klubas Meis Lagamri. Shalosh Klubas Meis Lagamri is kosher v'asa b'derech chitainim. There's different ways how you have to fix it. None of them are easy. Right? Taivas heter, you use it l'shem shemaim, it becomes fixed up, right? You ate food, you enjoyed it. You shouldn't have enjoyed it. You served the Eivishter, you malad. Klippas nega. Shalosh Klippas Meis Lagamri is called Isser. To fix it requires either you have to wait till Eis Kates at Shebulam Avos and Netzach till the end of time, or you have to do tshuva me'ahava. Okay? Now, a person dies, they come to heaven. Yeah? They did Avedis. You go to Gehenna. Everybody knows that. Right? One vart on Gehenna. What makes Gehenna Gehenna? You take a neshama, you put it into a washing machine, and the neshama gets cleaned. The washing machine hurts, but the result of this washing machine is that the neshama is going to get later to Gan Eden. Yeah, the neshama should be very proud of going to Gehenna. It's the Yelas. The Gemara says mutar de ladaina, but like the Dalma Dasa, right? What's the teretz? When you go to Gehenna, the taich Gehenna is that you don't see the point of the Yisurim. If a neshama goes to Gehenna and knows how this Gehenna is cleaning him, it stops being Gehenna. The whole gedank of Gehenna is that it feels like hell. It feels like it's useless. That's why it hurts so much. And for Gehenna, it's for Avedis. The person did Avedis. Rachmana litzlan. He did things he's not supposed to do. So what happens? The person dies. The body rots. The neshama leaves this world. It goes to the Bezin Shalmaila. Bezin Shalmaila judges. It goes to Gehenna no more than 12 months or 11 months, as it says in Sfarim. Yes, and then you go to Gan Eden. Now, what about things that a person did in Gashmias that are not Avedis, but they're Sitra Achra? Remember, we learned in Tanya Perek Vav that there's no such thing as neutral in Pnimius. It's either serving Hashem or it's the opposite of serving Hashem. Sitra Achra means Sad Acha Shein Sad HaKadosh. If it's not holy, it's anti-holy. Finished, yeah? So if you do an Aveda, which is called Shalosh Klubas Meis Lagamri, which is called Isur, because it's Kosher V'Eiseh B'Derech Chitainim L'Eilam, which is what we were learning 2 days ago and yesterday and today. For this, they go to Gehenna. What about Sitra Achara that's not an Aveda? The whole rest of this Perek addresses the question, what happens to the Mutadik in Yoram that we did? Gashmias, it's not an Aveda. Says the Alter Rebbe Achmi Kol Makom, still. Kedem Shechaz L'Kedusha, Klippas Noiga. Klippas Noiga. Klippas Noiga means it's kosher and it's permitted. But I enjoyed it. My Nefesh HaBahamis wants Klippas Nega because it's Sheid Meshed in Yehudayin and it's not kosher v'asur. Right? In other words, the Eidel and Nefesh HaBahamis of a Yid, which doesn't want to do Avedis, but it does want to enjoy Taivas Heter, says the Alter Rebbe, until you bring it into holiness by serving Hashem, learning and davening with the koyach of not eating, who sit at Achar or Klippa. It's the other side and it's Klippas Nega. Why? Why? Because there's no such thing as neutral. Taivas Heter is sit at Achar. So you have to fix it. Then there's a Vagam. Moreover, you fixed it already. You served Hashem, you learned to daven with the Keich of the Achila. Says the Rebbe, Achakach, even after you uplifted the Klippas Nega, Reshimi Men and Ishdavak Baguf. There's a little drop left over from this Klippas Nega, from this Sitra Achir in your goof. Lehiyes, because, Kimikol, Maichol, Mashke, the moment you eat and drink, Nasa take if Damabasa Mipsad, it immediately becomes your blood and your flesh. And therefore, even though you, so to speak, did tshuva, to do tshuva for Dvarim HaMutarim is not required anything very hard. You ate pizza and you enjoyed it. The tshuva is to daven with the koyach of that pizza. The tshuva is to learn Torah with the koyach of that pizza. That's all you got to do. But between when you ate it and when you did the tshuva, you became the Taivas Heter. To go to Gehenna is not fair. It's not an Aveda. To go to Gehenna is not necessary. It's not kosher v'asur. But there's a different process. And the process is you have to have chibut akeva, the whipping in the grave. Then I say to cleanse him, to purify me to maseh from the tumah, which one gets from the pleasure of this world, v'tanugav and its pleasures. Mitumas klipas nega, from the tumah that's klipas nega, v'sheidin yudayin, and permitted, and the Jewish demon. Unless such a person who never for 1 second had pleasure from this Elam Hazeh, Rabbeinu HaKadosh was one of the richest people in the world. The Gemara says he was richer than Antoninus, right? And Rabbeinu HaKadosh raised his fingers to heaven before he died, and he says, I didn't even enjoy this world like a small pinky. Rabbeinu HaKadosh, he didn't do any Avedas. Rabbeinu HaKadosh never enjoyed Gashmias for 1 instant. He's never enjoyed Gashmias for 1 instant. You go straight to Gan Eden. If you enjoy Elam Hazeh for 1 instant, in Teves Heter, there's a process called Chibut HaKev. Now, you'll see tomorrow that there's another process called Kaf HaKela, which is for Dvarim B'Teilim. We'll get to that, okay? The point that you have to understand is as follows. For an Aveda, which is called Isur, you go to Gehenna. For Teves, you don't go to Gehenna, it's not an Isur. For Teves, you have what's called Chibut HaKev and Kaf HaKela. And I'll explain it to you in very simple words, yes? What happens when you dream? What happens when you dream? Stuff is happening to you, and you cannot control it. Right? The Alter Rebbe brings the Tanya Chavtaz Desaya. The Desaya says when people dream, and it's stupid dreams, this is the Klippas making fun of them. The Klippa's not taking you over. He's making fun of you. Why is the Klippa making fun of you? You're helpless. When you're awake, you can control your thoughts. When you're in Gan Eden, you're in a perfect world, you're in a holy world. It doesn't matter that you're not in control because you're surrounded by Kiddush. When you're asleep, you can't control your thoughts, right? You're not in a holy place, so they come along and make fun of you by giving you shtusim to think about, narishkeit. When a person dies, what happens to the neshama? It doesn't have control, because the control of the neshama is through the guf. The guf is finished. The neshama hasn't gone yet to Gan Eden. It's an interim state. The time between when the neshama leaves the ability to speak through the guf and the neshama enters the Bezin Shal Maila is a time where the neshama exists, the neshama is aware, and the neshama has no control. So around it, the forces that are around it mock it. The neshama is helpless. The Teves Heter that we did during our lifetime torture us. In other words, we re-experience, we're not talking about Avedas. Avedas is Gehenim or Tshuva. The Teves Heter that we enjoyed make fun of us. And there's 2 aspects to the Teves Heter. One aspect of Teves Heter is called Chibut HaKever, which is for enjoying Gashmias pleasures. Tomorrow we'll see Mitzvah Hashem. We're going to learn it actually tonight. For Dvarim B'Teilim you have to have Kaf HaKela, which is a different process. Chibut HaKever is when the neshama is still connected to the guf, it's in the grave. Kaf HaKela is the neshama after it's no longer connected to the guf, but it's still in this world. The idea is that Chibut HaKever and Kaf HaKela is not Gehenim. It's not hell. Because you're going someplace, but you have no control. You have no control. It's like a person who's dreaming in their sleep. So there's Gevaldik Ketzar. Here's the chap. It says in Ayayim Yain that there's an Eitzah. There's a way to protect yourself from Chibut HaKela and Kaf HaKela. And that is Eisius. If during your lifetime you spend 4 hours a day saying Eisius HaTeira, and every time that you have an opportunity you speak Mishnayos Baal Peh, you create a barrier around yourself, a lavush. So when a person passes away, they have no control. And their Teves are bombarding them and making fun of them, what we would call Chibut HaKever and Kaf HaKela. The Eisius Teira Tefillah protect you. They don't give you control. You're not in control at that moment. But they protect you that you shouldn't feel the tzarech Chibut HaKever and Kaf HaKela. And we'll continue tonight.